From wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world, this is Prime Edition coming to you live from Broadcasting House along Harry Thuku Road. Good evening, my name is Mboya.
I am Muchuma Odim. Also in this bulletin, we have the latest in the world of business with Muchuma and also sports here on Prime Edition.
You don't want to miss all that. But first things first, a look at our top stories tonight. No books for grade 10 pupils.
Publishers raise concerns over delayed payments for printing books, claiming government owes them 11 billion shillings. UHC workers' demos.
Medics protest delay in their employment terms. Death before justice.
Shock at Bungoma locals after an elderly man dies waiting for the hearing of his land dispute case. Plus,
amidst all the trouble,
striking JKUAT lecturers let their inner child free through fun and games.
A very warm welcome to the broadcast. Our socials.
At KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Our sign language expert tonight is Byron Abuli.
We begin the program with Health Watch, and hundreds of universal health coverage medical workers took to the streets of Nairobi, Kenya, Tuesday, demanding immediate implementation of the presidential directive to confirm them on permanent and also pensionable terms.
The medics who say they have waited for 6 years are also calling for the payment of gratuity as promised by the government.
Joseph Wahungu opens our coverage with that report.
At the Ministry of Health headquarters in Nairobi, UHC medics braved the morning cold to press for what they described as delayed justice. They say that for 6 years, they have worked on short-term contracts, a situation they insist undermines job security and morale in the health sector. The medics, who also staged a peaceful demonstration, accused the Ministry of Health of failing to honor both a presidential directive and a Labour Relations Court ruling that confirmed that they are employees of the national government.
And the ministry also said that effective September we are going to be permanent and pensionable, yet the payslip came back with harmonization but still on contract. We decided that we will always be here to demand for our rights.
They are also demanding the payment of their 5-year gratuity amounting to 31% of their gross salary, which they claim has been withheld despite clear court orders.
Tumeweza kuhudumu miaka mitano. Hiyo inamaanisha tumekuwa patient enough. Miaka mitano kwa kandarasi. Kandarasi ambazo ni dunzi zaidi. Kumaanisha tumeweza kuwa very patient enough. Na sidhani kama ni patience inaweza pita pale. Miaka mitano sita.
According to the medics, despite Parliament allocating 6.2 billion shillings earlier this year to facilitate the payment, the ministry has only harmonized salaries instead of confirming them, with some cadres like the community oral health officers earning as little as 30,000 shillings net salary.
These officers have served for 6 years. How do you then now come and give them a salary that is even less than 30,000? They have written to the Ministry of Health, and the ministry is saying that the community oral health officers do not deserve allowances. Don't they work in hospitals?
Kama mwezi huu utaisha bila kuzingatia matakwa yenye yamewekwa na president ama parliament, itatulazimu kwenda wapi? Kwenda mgomo. Na hatutaogopa, tumekuwa mgomo kwa miezi 7.
They are also calling on the Council of Governors to stop what they term as punitive short-term contracts and absorb UHC workers fully.
From Health Watch to the impact of late payments on education.
The Kenya Publishers Association is raising concerns over delayed payments from government, which is interfering with the smooth printing of books for grade 10.
Now, the publishers are warning that the pending bills could disrupt the supply of textbooks for grade 10 learners across the country.
The association says publishers are owed over 11 billion shillings, a situation that, if not addressed, could stall printing and distribution ahead of the next academic year.
Doreen Arange is on that report.
We're bringing details on that story later on in this bulletin or in our subsequent bulletins. In other news, shock struck the Bungoma law courts after an elderly man involved in a land dispute case died within the court's precincts.
Now, this is a sad one. The judiciary is saying that the deceased had arrived in the court visibly unwell and was given priority to hear his case.
He, however, went ahead to rest on the grass, waiting for his lawyer to arrive when a court official found him unresponsive.
Now, police pronounced him dead just moments later on and moved his body to Bungoma County Hospital morgue.
His brother says he had previously suffered a heart condition.
Bungoma law courts in Bungoma County came to a standstill Tuesday morning. Residents were in shock as they watched the remains of a man who had moments earlier arrived at the court alive, like any other litigant, to seek services of the court. According to a statement released by the judiciary, the man had arrived on a motorbike at 9 a.m. The elderly man, who has since been identified as Jotha Mwamkuywa, appeared visibly unwell and offered a priority card that is given to elderly persons, PWDs, and expectant mothers to access expedited services. The judiciary reveals the man who was pursuing a matter surrounding a land dispute at the Environment and Land Court then opted to rest on the grass to wait for his lawyer. Moments later, he was discovered unresponsive by a court official who had come to update him on the matter. It is then that police were called to the scene and pronounced the man dead on spot. His body was moved to Bungoma County Hospital morgue.
Sisi tulifanya kesi na mtu anaitwa Atson Wanjala Chuma na tukamshinda kesi, tukapewa shamba na mahakama, tukakawana kila mtu akona land title deed yake. So ile kitu ilifanya sisi tukuche leo, tulipata barua kwamba advocate change ameandika tukuche kotini kuhusu shamba.
However, his family disclosed their kin had a history of heart problems which he had previously been treated for.
So wakati tumekuja ndio mzee amecollapse na kufa, lakini alikuwa na ugonjwa wa roho.
Giverson Maana, Prime Edition.
And to a lecturer's strike, and it's a story we highlighted for you at the beginning of this broadcast, Tom.
That's right. In a rare departure from their norm, striking workers at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, spent their day outdoors letting their inner child free through fun and games.
Led by chapter leaders of University's Academic Staff Union, UASU, and Kenya University's Staff Union, KUSU, the lecturers who have been away from the lecture halls for 4 weeks now took time off from agitating for their salaries to enjoy themselves through athletics, races, and other fun activities.
Well, Nancy Okware was there and filed the following report.
They say work without play makes Jack a dull boy. Striking Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology workers heeded to this saying and put a pause to their demonstrations to engage in sporting activities. Winners in the various categories were awarded, perhaps as a way to let go life stresses and challenges of everyday life. But despite the fun and games, it was not lost to them why they had this free time on their hands. UASU Secretary General Dr. Constantine Wasonga reiterated that the government has no option but to implement their collective bargaining agreements.
This strike is going for a long time. I gave the government 3 demands. Thing 1, 2.73 billion. Thing 2, negotiate, register, implement 2017, 2020, 2025, 2029 CBA and bank the money. Before the money hits your account, the strike will continue.
Let us be respected even when we retire. Fight for your rights like you have never fought before. 2025-2029 CBA is a CBA that's going to ensure that even the services we provide in the university are quality.
Lecturers and other staff that have been on a nationwide strike are demanding payment of 7.9 billion shillings from the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement. The dawn strike that has since been declared illegal by the courts has paralyzed learning across public universities in the country, with students forced to go home.
And the theme of this strike is tunamalizana. Semeni, tunamalizana. Na 7.9 billion, tunamalizana. Na 2025-2029 CBA.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
On to Mashujaa Day preparations, Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mboya has assured Kenyans that the new 700 million shillings Ithokwe Stadium in Kitui is 96% complete and will be ready to host this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations.
Well, Mboya, who toured the facility Tuesday alongside Interior Principal Secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo and other senior government officials, said that the 10,000-seater stadium will be handed over next week, ready to host the event on the 20th of this month.
It will be the first time Kitui County is hosting a national celebration.
Here's that report by Ben Chumba.
Ithokwe Stadium in Kitui is now standing tall at 96% complete. The 700 million shillings facility, with a capacity of 10,000, is set to host this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations, when Kenyans honor the heroes and heroines who have shaped the nation's history. Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mboya led a high-power delegation, including Interior PS Raymond Omolo and other government officials, to inspect the progress.
Tulikuwa tumejadiliana tuwapatie leo, lakini tumeona bado kuna mambo mengi ya kiufundi ambayo yanaweza hatarisha wale watakuwa nafanya mazoezi.
Mboya, while impressed by the rapid progress, announced a short delay in handing over the stadium to the celebrations committee, pushing the date to Tuesday next week for final touches.
Kuna kazi nyingine ambayo tumepeana maagizo iweze kufanyika ndani ya wiki moja, na kazi hiyo ni ya kuweka sengenge ya mawe ambayo itakuwa mita 885 kuzungusha ili iweze kukamilika. Tumepeana maagizo pia kwa shirika la kura, nao vile vile waweze kukamilisha kuweka lami barabara ile ambayo inafungamana na uwanja huu wa Mashujaa.
Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo hailed the partnership with Kitui County, assuring that the venue will be ready before the big day.
Tuko na uhakikisho mzuri kutoka kwa contractors na watu wote wenye wanashughulika na hii mambo ya maandalizi ya Mashujaa Day. Tuko tayari kuhost hii sherehe ifikayo tarehe 20.
Kitui Governor Julius Malombe commended the national government for what he termed a transformative development, noting that this will be the first time Kitui plays host to a national event. This year's Mashujaa Day, set for October 20th, will honor Kenya's gallant heroes and also spotlight energy as a driver of economic and social development, in line with the theme of Energy Week 2025. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
It will be the first time that Kitui County will be hosting a national event. It's exactly 12 minutes past the top of the hour. Coming up,
Senate wants President William Ruto to engage his Ugandan counterparts, and we'll be telling you why after the break. Stay with us.
One.
I'm really excited about our CI International Investment Conference because it means that we get to have all our investors who are already with us and potential investors. And by investors, I also mean investment in human capital, because that's the real thing. That's what's important for the children and for the women and for the community. CI is leading in early childhood development. The county is implementing the Nurturing Care for Early Childhood Development, which is a framework that was created by the WHO in 2018 that seeks to develop the whole person. And this particular investment means that our county is investing on the child from 0 to 1,000 days. Those are the first 2 to 3 years of a child's life. So this is one investment that I'm really looking forward to share with the country, to share with our regional and international partners. And of course, we're looking beyond investing in brick and mortar to investing in the real potential of our children. So for us, that's the real investment that we're seeking to make.
Welcome back to Prime Edition.
Our socials at KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook, and YouTube.
A quick recap for that story that we had read earlier on, where the Kenya Publishers Associations are raising concerns over delayed payments from government, which is interfering with the smooth printing of books for grade 10.
The publishers are warning that the pending bills could disrupt the supply of textbooks for grade 10 learners across the country.
Now, the association says that the publishers are owed 11 billion shillings. And that situation is not, if not addressed, could stall printing and distribution ahead of the next academic year, as put in perspective by Doreen Arange.
The Kenya Publishers Association says it is racing against time to ensure a seamless supply of textbooks for grade 10 learners, with distribution scheduled between October and December 2025.
All these 21 publishing firms will be supplying 35 different textbooks and literary works. Out of these 35 books, 5 are compulsory. Total number of copies that we shall be supplying for grade 10, which need to be printed and distributed to all public schools by January 2026, is estimated at 7 million copies.
The association, however, says financial constraints threaten the process.
As we speak today, publishers are collectively owed approximately 11.4 billion Kenya shillings.
The pending bills dating back to 2024 stem from textbook supplies for grade 1 to 9, a debt the publishers say has interfered with book production chain.
The settlement of this amount of 11.4 billion is therefore urgent and critical to enable publishers to print and distribute books for grade 10, which is an exercise that is projected to cost yet another 2.5 billion.
According to the publishers, printing alone takes about 60 days, with distributions requiring an additional 30 days. Any delays in payment, they warn, could directly impact the delivery of textbooks to learners and consequently impact learning for grade 10. They are calling on the government to expedite the payment process of accrued debt.
Our members are ready. The books have gone through the rigorous process of vetting by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, and they have been corrected. As the Kenya Publishers Association, remain confident that the government of Kenya will act promptly to avert a potential book supply crisis.
The Kenya Publishers Association says it remains in communication with the Ministry of Education through the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, KICD, hoping that the government will address the payments in time to ensure every pupil has their learning materials when schools reopen in January 2026. Doreen Arange for Prime Edition.
The Coalition on Violence Against Women says there is need to include persons with disabilities in the development of policies and guidelines in order to strengthen collective advocacy on ending violence against women and girls who are abled differently.
Now, this comes as a research conducted by the United Nations Women in 2019 revealed that 73.1% of women living with disability have experienced a form of gender-based violence in their lifetime, as reported by Kasichana Masha.
Data from Kenya Population and Housing Census carried out in 2019 shows that people living with disability accounts for 2.2% of the population, translating to 9 million people in the country. The results also indicated that 1.9% of men have disability compared to 2.5% of women. A research conducted in 2019 by United Nations Women revealed that 73.1% of women living with disability have experienced one form or another of gender-based violence in their lifetime.
Gender-based violence against women and girls with disabilities, there is need for state and relevant non-state actors to collaborate through a coordinated multi-sectoral approach to accelerate the efforts towards elimination of gender-based violence.
Lobby groups have attributed this alarming trend to minimal representation of women living with disability in decision-making platforms, inaccessibility of quality education, and unemployment.
Women with disabilities are not included. If they are excluded, it becomes very difficult for them to also contribute to the issues of reduction of violence against women or sexual and gender-based violence. One of the key drivers of violence in this country is economic deprivation.
How are women with disabilities being involved even in contributing or the consultations that are to do with addressing issues of gender-based violence? And we want to see that at policy level, these issues are strongly reflected so that we can be able to ensure that women are safe.
Speaking during the Sub-Regional Networking Forum, which brought together women with disability advocates from Kenya, Rwanda and Malawi, lobby groups led by the Coalition on Violence Against Women, COVA, Disabled Women in Africa, DIWA, among others, have called for long-term funding to sustain essential services like advocacy on the rights of people living with disability.
In light of this global funding backlash and the redirecting of resources that we are all experiencing, right? And this is really a pushback from the overall women's rights work, and these shifts are having severe repercussions for women's rights organizations, and most importantly, the lives of women and girls worldwide, especially the most marginalized.
The two-day forum, under the theme Bringing the Marginalized to the Center, also saw calls for concerted efforts to enhance the welfare of people living with disability in the country. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Busia County Governor Paul Otuoma has defended his government over accusations that it has failed to account for billions of shillings in shareable revenue to the county.
Appearing before the Senate's Public Accounts Committee, Governor Otuoma was at pains to explain how Busia County is falling short of its own sourced revenue potential despite the existence of multiple revenue streams.
Now, the governor was also questioned about a controversial upgrade to the Busia Level 4 hospital.
Here is that report.
Of Senate Mashinani. For the fourth time, the Senate mess was carried into the chambers of a county assembly. Busia playing host to the Senate Mashinani, an initiative designed to bring legislation closer to the people.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me.
Also brought closer to the residents of Busia was the grilling of the Busia County Governor over the books of the county executive.
You collected 4.9 million prior year, and that year you collected 2.5 million. Where did 2.4 million go?
Governor Paul Otuoma, while appearing before the Senate County Public Accounts Committee, had a tough time explaining to senators how his administration is promoting efficiency and accountability in the management of public resources.
Those are just contractual people, as I said, two CECs.
That's not what I said. He requested a system. Unless
the system of employing people above 60.
Yes.
No, it was just that.
Why would we be and you'll find that system is developed by young people.
If the governor feels that he might not be able to respond adequately,
Yes.
he can pass it on to the chief officer to fast track the process.
That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, but you are holding a meeting within a meeting, which is not...
Okay, who has the answers? Because remember, this is money collected from the residents of Busia.
It also emerged that the county operated a fake email account for an entire year and awarded a 4.9 million shillings consultancy tenders for the upgrade of the Busia Level 4 hospital.
You're telling us this email address info@busiacounty.go.ke is not your email address?
Exactly, Honorable.
So there's somebody running around with such an email address?
That was available to the use of the former administration. We don't have access to that.
Do you see the danger there, my brother?
Yes, Honorable Member.
What is the danger?
I informed administratively the ICT department.
No. Forget what you informed them.
The county also came under sharp scrutiny over unsupported travel expenses amounting to 35 million shillings, with the Senate directing that the money be recovered from the responsible officers within 60 days, or the matter be handed to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
Chair, what are we doing here? You know, Chair, let's just be honest. Chair. What exactly are we doing? Are we carrying out audit, or what exactly are we doing here? I don't understand.
Presiding over the opening session of the Senate Mashinani in Busia County, Speaker Amason Kingi emphasized the need for the county assemblies to play a more proactive role in oversight legislation and representation.
These activities will accord the residents of Busia County an opportunity to actively engage and participate in the legislative and other businesses of the Senate. I encourage the residents of Busia and the neighboring counties to turn out and engage with the Senate.
Speaker Kingi further assured Busia MCAs that the Senate is ready to partner with them in legislative research and oversight initiatives to enhance the effectiveness in governance. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition, Busia County.
Staying with the Senate's Trade Committee wants President William Ruto to engage his Ugandan counterpart Yoweri Museveni to consider removing non-tariff barriers, slowing down trade between the two countries.
That's right. The senators, while visiting the Malaba one-stop border post, observed that despite the gateway surpassing its revenue targets, Kenyan traders were still facing difficulties accessing the Ugandan market compared to the Ugandan traders accessing the Kenyan market.
The committee is also expected to engage the Kenya National Highways Authority to prioritize expansion of infrastructure at the border gates.
Here's that report.
The Senate's Trade and Tourism Committee visited the Malaba one-stop border post to oversight the facilitation of trade between Kenya and Uganda. The Kenya Revenue Authority and the truck's drivers decried inefficiencies and numerous non-tariff barriers on the Ugandan side as a key inhibitor of trade.
Uganda kuna zile non-tariff barriers nyingi sana ambazo ziko hapo. Kuanzia kwa bridge hapa mpaka kwa upper gate. Kila baada mita 200 utakuta hapo kuna barrier. Na barrier hiyo zinachelewesha magari kwa clearance ya magari inachelewesha.
The senators faulted the Kenya National Highways Authority for failing to support Kenya Revenue Authority by expanding the infrastructure heading to the border post. According to KRA, lack of road infrastructure has grounded some of the strategic customs yard, thereby making Kenyan route uncompetitive compared to Dar es Salaam route for traders accessing the landlocked Central Africa.
We are going to summon the in charge of Kenya, because this we cannot agree. We cannot agree on this issue because this road was supposed to be completed, I think, 2 years back or 3 years back. So 4 years back, and we don't know what is the reason. So we as a committee, we are going to summon them, and even the Minister for Transport, they're going to summon to make sure that this road is completed in exactly time.
The senators resolved to engage the road state agencies and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the two factors affecting trade between Kenya and Uganda.
Takaa chini tena hata kama kwenda kuzungumza na Prime Cabinet Secretary ambaye ndiye in charge of mambo foreign affairs Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi akae chini na hawa counterpart wa Uganda waweze kurekebisha hii shida ni nini, imalizike mara moja, sio magari yakae hapa siku 10 si siku 5 kwa sababu ya shida zao ndogo ndogo huko Uganda.
Kama hii mambo ya Uganda hii labda hii kitu tupeleke pa kwa rais aweze kuongea na mwenzake upande ule
waweze kutatua hii shida kama marais wa nchi ya Kenya na rais wa nchi ya Uganda.
In the last financial year, the Kenya Revenue Authority at Malaba one-stop border post raised over 8 billion shillings in revenue despite the challenges of infrastructure. This financial year, the tax collector projects to collect 10.2 billion shillings and has already raised 4 billion shillings in the first quarter of the year. The Senate Trade Committee will endeavor to engage the Kenya National Highway Authority to prioritize expanding infrastructure allowed Malaba border post. The main challenge, however, remains on the other side of Uganda, where inefficiencies are causing snare-up on this side of Kenya. Gishoki Washira for Prime Edition in Busia County.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia kilimo kutumia mbinu za asili. Kisha jinsi ya kuwafuga ng'ombe, kondoo pamoja na kuku.
Hawa wanyama wako na challenges mingi pia. Kukua na wao inabidi ujipange.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Piga mswaki fuenda kwa Big Mama. Josh alipiga simu akasema nikwambie walifika Nairobi vizuri.
Hata nataka nifanye mpango nimnunulie kuku nitume mtu ambaye anaenda Nairobi.
Elijah wewe
amestabilize na tunangoja tu lab result.
Wewe bado hata hamjui.
Ingekuwa rahisi hivyo hata ukimwi ungekuwa na tiba. Reverse. Hadi hizi vitu fanyika especially kama msema hajachunga vizuri. Unajichoma kama hivi? Ndio.
Hapana. Daktari amesemaje?
Hii ni damu ya kwenu.
Ati?
Usiseme hivyo. Tamtafutia nini mke wangu?
Hakuna kitu ambayo
sasa.
Wananitagundu wakita.
Welcome back, our socials.
At KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook and YouTube.
Now, the Kenya Defence Forces is banking on continental solidarity, interagency cooperation and international collaboration to help the fight against improvised explosive devices.
Vice Chief of Defence Forces Lieutenant General John Omenda says Kenya has borne the cost of IEDs, losing soldiers, police officers and innocent civilians, something that calls for close ties with partners.
Lieutenant General Omenda was speaking when he presided over the 7th African Annual Counter-Improvised Explosive Devices Conference here in Nairobi.
JKUAT with that report.
Firing now!
These demos are part of measures taken to respond to threats posed by improvised explosive devices that continue to threaten livelihoods across Africa and beyond.
Stand by for firing!
The demonstration taking place at the 7th Africa Annual Counter-Improvised Explosive Device Conference in Nairobi, which has been identified as crucial in providing Operation Theatre updates, lessons learned and examples of best practices for better counter-IED coordination across the continent. Vice Chief of Defence Forces Lieutenant General John Omenda presenting Kenya's position in supporting initiatives that foster regional and global collaboration, enhancing information sharing and strengthening collective response.
It is evident that this challenge cannot be addressed in isolation. We have lost soldiers, police officers, innocent civilians to IED attacks. Yet, these sacrifices have only strengthened our resolve as a nation to confront this threat head-on.
Statements echoed by United Kingdom Defence Attaché Brigadier Ole Bryant, who said the UK will continue to work closely with the African Union and the United Nations to deliver essential training and operational guidance to help deter the influence of IEDs, Al-Shabaab and other terror groups.
And this long-term, persistent and consistent approach is built on shared ideas, experiences and solutions. And going forward, you've got a network of people that you can communicate with going forward. a network of friends that you can discuss ideas, doctrine, tactical actions and strategic activities as well.
International Peace Support Training Center Director Major General Charles Monzigues said successful operations continue saving lives in mission areas, calling for actionable strategies in safeguarding civilians.
Engage actively, exchange insights, and work together in exploring practical approaches to strengthening situational awareness, interoperability, and preparedness.
We must build strong synergies among our militaries, police services, intelligence services, policymakers, and international partners.
Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
That story was done by Yusufara and not JKUAT. Now let's move to a report compiled by JKUAT. Tom.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has challenged counties to embrace technology and data as tools for economic planning and integration.
Speaking in Busia, Mudavadi emphasized that timely, accurate and verifiable data is essential for improving service delivery and closing corruption gaps.
MCS cited Samburu County's adoption of e-procurement as a model of embracing technology, urging others to automate procurement processes and enhance transparency.
You know, we are talking of, we want to close corruption holes, we want to close mismanagement, we want to close pilferage. How can we continue if we are not embracing technology? We have to find our way into this new digital world.
Mudavadi also called on the national government administrative officers, Ngao, to become primary sources of credible data, positioning themselves as vital contributors to planning frameworks.
You can turn yourself into a mega resource by just ensuring that you are a primary source of data, credible data, hygienic data. And I'm telling you, everybody will be looking for you again. And the political clarion that says, we can do away with these people, they'll start saying, no, 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 no.
Today, the planning is disjointed and fragmented. We have the national government up there doing its planning, and we have the county governments, 47 of them, also doing their planning. Yet, we share vision as a country. We have one focus. We have Vision 2030.
He warned counties against actions that harm investor confidence, referencing a French investor's eviction that escalated into a diplomatic issue.
Make sure your land tenure systems are accurate and up to date. What is the lead time between an investor who wants to set up a factory and the time you give him clearances and everything so that he can set up the factory? Does it take you 3 years? Does it take you 5 years? Does it take you 3 months?
He lauded the national government's commitment to timely revenue disbursement, noting only September's allocation remains pending. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Now, members of the National Assembly have questioned how workers at the Postal Corporation of Kenya have been surviving since May of 2025, believe it or not, without pay.
Appearing before the Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation, Postmaster General John Tonui admitted financial challenges at the corporation, with wages consuming 75% of its revenue, which he said has been worsened by an inflated workforce of over 2,000 employees.
The corporation also, according to Tonui, posted a 487 million profit before tax, a rebound from the 1.08 billion loss of last year.
Tonui said banking on Posta Pay to rival M-Pesa in disbursing Inua Jamii funds under a bold 25 billion shillings, a 15-year transformation plan.
We have now areas in terms of, yes, we have areas of how many months? No, 5 months. 5 months, yes.
How you can engage this committee in expediting some of these things
You can imagine without salary, we are still expecting these to be the people who carry the burden of turning around our Postal. And we send you out there, Postmaster General, to be a leader, to lead this transformation. And this committee is more than keen to do the heavy lifting for you where needed, so that it will not be waiting for us to call you before this committee. You can be proactive and tell us that this is where we have been the bottlenecks, and this is how this committee can unlock them for you.
Let's now shift to the courts. The High Court has ordered the Inspector General of Police Service, Douglas Kanja, to appear physically in court on 9th October and explain why he has failed to comply with a court order dated 6th November 2024 in the succession case of the estate of the late Charles Karuga Koinange.
Judge Eric Ogola has further directed that the title deed of Njunu Farm, both registered in the name of CKK Limited, be deposited in court for safekeeping on or before Thursday, the 9th of October, 2025.
The High Court had issued temporary conservatory orders restraining any activity, transfer, sale or trespass of a piece of land in Kiambu County, the property on which CCK Limited stands. The court had on November last year directed Kiambu County Police Commander to appear in court and explain why the said plot was being invaded by trespassers under his watch. However, the court was informed by the administrators Peter Mbiyu Koinange and Isabella Wanjiku that the orders had not been complied with and that land grabbers, trespassers and goons had forcefully taken over the Njunu Farm, the property in contention.
His wife. This matter is enjoying.
In his ruling, Justice Eric Ogola directed the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to present himself to court and explain why the police cannot assure the aggrieved parties the sanctity of the title to the property, and especially why the police have failed to comply with the court order issued in 2024. This succession case, which dates back to 2006, will be heard on Thursday, 9th October. Ruth Wamboy for Prime Edition.
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party.
Nilizika kuolewa na huyu.
Yani alifika kabisa mheshimiwa.
Nikukuuliza wewe. Unajua tunaweza fanya hii kesi ukiwa nje. Fanya hii kesi ukiwa nje.
No. Ayendi mzuri vile natakana. Nasema hawezi kwa
mtoe nje. Lakini ameamua, amesema hata mfanye nini ataolewa na huyu. Ati
kwisha.
Ati lele wanaongea Kijerumani. Amesema yeye ataolewa na huyu, upande juu shuke chini, ataki huyo wako.
Mtoto amerokwa.
Sasa hii kesi imekuwa dismissed.
Lakini unaona hapo ni koroga mheshimiwa.
Mimi sijui urogi, wewe kama unajua urogi mimi sijui.
Father in law.
Kiza.
Now we change gears and look at the day's business news. My name is Wairi Mujenga. Now Kenya is pushing for the adoption of digital trade systems across the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, as it assumes office to chair the regional bloc. Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki says by automating documentation, payments and logistics, COMESA would reduce trade transactions costs by at least 30%.
Our discussions will explore how digitalization can transform business practices, boost productivity, connect markets, and create opportunities for all, particularly marginalized groups, including MSMEs, women, and youth.
Intra-COMESA trade is still low at about 17% of the bloc's total commerce. This is due to factors such as bureaucracy, border crossing points, non-tariff barriers, and paper-based procedures.
While such measures may be driven by well-intentioned local policy objectives, they distort regional markets, go against the spirit of the free trade area, they disrupt supply chains, raise production costs, and discourage cross-border trade and investment.
Recognized for its pioneering work in mobile money, fintech innovation, and digital governance, Kenya is fronting digitalization of trade across the COMESA market.
To facilitate the flow of goods and services, digitalization catalyzes reduction of non-tariff barriers to trade by introducing digital solutions to trade facilitation and modernizing customs and border procedures for seamless trade within COMESA member states.
Professor Kindiki says adoption of digital payments, e-logistics, and online export certification would enable manufacturers move products faster, verify compliance instantly, and significantly lower overheads.
And because trade is now becoming more digital than physical, then the issue of ensuring that we have digital connection across the whole country, and by extension also in other parts of the COMESA, becomes important.
Private sector players call for the adoption of digital traceability and certification to allow agri-exports meet European Union and Gulf market standards.
This system enables businesses to obtain certificates in hours rather than days or weeks, directly enhancing competitiveness.
Bottom line is that the adoption of electronic trade facilitation has been termed a game changer in reducing trade costs by at least 20 to 30%. These are just some of the take-homes of Day 2 of the ongoing COMESA Summit that is currently underway from Nairobi. This is the Nairobi chapter at the KICC on a day that has been dubbed the Business Forum. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Now, still in COMESA, now looking at smart agriculture. Now, there's need for urgent policy alignment, bold partnerships, and digital innovations to transform Africa's agriculture sector. Policymakers say there's need to make farming smarter, more productive, and sustainable across COMESA member states. Africa spends over $100 billion on food imports each year, even as 300 million people face food insecurity, a paradox for a continent with vast arable land and a youthful population. The future of agriculture lies not in traditional methods, but in smart agriculture, from precision agriculture to digital platforms that connect farmers directly to markets. However, most smallholder farmers remain digitally unsavvy.
Digital agriculture has become a strategic priority for food security, economic growth, and job creation.
They emphasized on the need to strengthen linkages with off-takers, smallholder farmers, agro-dealers, underscoring how digital innovations can boost productivity.
Government should create the right incentives for farmers and innovators to adopt these climate-smart practices and digital tools. Consider offering subsidies for climate-resilient seeds and sustainable inputs. Provide tax breaks and innovation grants for agri-tech startups.
They are calling on COMESA member countries to harmonize trade regulations and invest in technologies that provide farmers with real-time data ranging from weather patterns, soil health, and market prices.
You know, we've been looking at this issue for too long. We've been talking about these issues like for decades now. The sense of urgency is not there. And yet the challenge today is more grave than before.
COMESA countries must harmonize trade, seed certification, and market standards, so that surplus production in one area can move freely across borders.
Now, away from COMESA summit. Now, Kenya rather should increasingly embrace artificial intelligence in solving complex everyday challenges. Microsoft Kenya country lead Phyllis Migwi says artificial intelligence can be leveraged on to unlock data-driven insights to reach underserved communities in real time.
The National Artificial Intelligence Strategy seeks to position Kenya as a regional AI hub for research, development and innovation. However, AI adoption in Kenya remains low despite its potential to be used for economic good and well-being development.
We've always known we are very high adopters of any technology that comes, but I think that was a big sign. And if you look at what that then means for the country, it's a conversation we must have. How do we then move from, yes, we are using these tools to actually leveraging these tools for innovation so that we actually become an AI solution provider for Africa.
Technological companies are, however, angling themselves to improve the number of trained citizens who, in turn, are meant to drive AI adoption in both the private and public sectors.
You might be aware, last year in November, we announced that we were going to train 1 million citizens on AI. That training is across from government employees all the way to students. And as part of that, we're also doing cybersecurity.
Kenya is strengthening AI digital infrastructure by creating a robust data ecosystem and promoting AI research and innovation.
Kenya is one of 10 countries in Africa that has actually put out a strategy and are really moving towards making sure that there's a policy. So we've communicated what are our own policies and standards, and then looking at then the national regulation, but also making sure that we're encouraging a collaborative engagement. So it's not nationalistic necessarily, but actually you look at data as a tool for collaboration and actually looking at data trust across the region.
Alanoko, Prime Edition.
The National Social Security Fund and peers across Africa are creating an infrastructure fund that funds projects in the continent. Africa Social Security Association chairperson Meshak Bandawe says the fund will de-risk the pension funds by diversifying the investment portfolio and lower infrastructure costs.
Funds drawn from Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania have created a task force to pool funds for investing in infrastructure. The fund by the African Social Security Association will also advance low-cost funding to African nations in a raft of measures that aims to increase participation of pension funds in Africa. The Africa Social Security Association is urging governments to draft policies and laws that will facilitate cross-border pension funds investments.
If you can put aside 1% of that money, you're talking about between $7 to $10 billion. If you put aside 2% of that money, you're talking between $14 to $20 billion, which can be instrumental in driving the economy.
The Africa Pension Fund's assets are estimated at 168 trillion shillings, which is enough to bridge the 22 trillion shillings infrastructure funding gap in Africa.
If you look at the Asian tigers, the likes of South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, China, and now Vietnam, their domestic long-term savings hit around 25-27%. And that has driven their development agendas, and they become the Asian tigers. Most of Africa's savings is still in the low teens. And no wonder we go around begging.
Benson Druba reporting for Prime Edition.
And we put a cap on tonight's business news. Mboya will be bringing you the sports update. My name is Muchuma. Have a good night.
It's art, it's culture, it's fun, it's attitude.
As you can see with me, I have this handkerchief. And is it really a handkerchief or is it?
My name is Kevin Kasioki. Please join me each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture,
Movies, gossip and trends, sports, drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
On to sports now. The Mashujaa and Moran Rugby 7 squad for the forthcoming Safari Sevens have been revealed ahead of the tournament scheduled to start this Friday through to the 10th of October at the Nyayo National Stadium, Nairobi. The Lionesses of Kenya emerging women rugby side Cubs squads have also been named. Head coach Kevin Bling Wambua has named the squad for the two sides that will represent Kenya in the men's category. That has also attracted 12 teams. Defending champions Mashujaa will be led by co-captains George Oro and Samuel Asati, while Morans will be captained by John Okoth. The Mashujaa team is composed of Kenya Sevens team regulars, among them Kevin Wekesa, Vincent Onyara, Dennis Abukusa, Nigel Amaita, and Patrick Odongo. The Moran Kenya's secondary team the tournament is made of largely freshmen eager to impress on the national stage. They include, among others, Clinton Amukachi, Daniel Kipchericher, and Rayvon Ambale, who took forwards to make their mark. The National Seventh Circuit champions KCB will also compete in the tournament that has also attracted the French Renegades, Shogun, UK Select side, and Reunion, a total of 20 teams. 12 men's side and B. 8, in the women's category have also confirmed their participation. Kenya will be represented by 2 women's teams. The Kenya Lionesses, who will be captained by Sheila Chajira, with Faith Achieng and Marvel Oswago earning their first call-ups. And the Cubs, who will be co-captained by Maxine Abuga and Anne Jerry, with 8 debutants at the team. The women's category has also drawn Shogun, Belgium, Zimbabwe, and Uganda Lady Cranes, while Spain's Costa Blanca Barbarians will defend their title. On to football now. The Kenya national football team, Harambee Stars, have already arrived in Burundi for their final qualifying round of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, scheduled on Thursday of this week, before they face Cote d'Ivoire next week. And back at home, Harambee Starlets debutants remained optimistic of giving a good account of themselves in the upcoming two-legged 2026 Women African Cup of Nations qualifiers against Gambia.
Harambee Stars will first take on Burundi in Bujumbura this Thursday before heading to Abidjan for another crucial clash against reigning African champions and Ivory Coast next week on Tuesday. Thursday's match will be live on Y254, while Tuesday's match will be live on KBC Channel 1. Head coach Benny McCarthy voiced confidence in his squad, highlighting the players' determination to secure positive results in both matches to end their campaign on a high. Harambee Stars is currently placed 5th in the qualifying group with 9 points, trailing group leaders Ivory Coast by 11 points. Meanwhile, Harambee Starlets debutants are upbeat about their first senior call-ups to the national women's soccer team. Harambee Starlets saying that they are optimistic of giving a good account of themselves in the upcoming two-legged 2026 Women African Cup of Nations qualifiers against Gambia. Speaking after today's training, Laureen Ilavonga and Elizabeth Muteshi stated they will not be there to make up the numbers but add value to the team.
Lazima work hard na ujibelieve na kuwa na confidence ndio uweze kupata hiyo opportunity. nataka ni work hard na hizo vitu makocha wanafunza nishike haraka.
When we played against Cameroon, coach told us that guys, go back there, work hard, mpatie collab ya senior team, and mkifika hapa senior team muonyeshe what you can have. And me, I'm here today, and I'm so good. I'm thanking God for this far.
Harambee Starlets will kick off their campaign at home on the 24th of October at the Nyao National Stadium before travelling to Senegal for the second leg scheduled for 20th of October at the Stade Lat Dior in Thiès.
Legendary sprinter Hezekiah Nyamau Munyoro, a member of the Kenyan quartet team that won the 1972 Munich Olympic Games 4x400 meter men's relay, has passed on today at the age of 82 after a long battle with cancer. Born and raised in Nyaguta village, Nyaribari Chache constituency, Kisii County, Nyamau shone into limelight when he won a silver medal at the 1968 Olympic Games in the 4x400 relay in Mexico with compatriots, the late Daniel Rudisha, Naftali Bon, and Charles Asati. He was also a Commonwealth Games 4x4 champion in 1970, an Eastern Central African 400-meter champion in 1972, and also won the Eastern Central Africa 4x4 relays from 1967 to 1972, together with the late Robert Ouko, the late Julius Sang, and Charles Asati, the squad's lone surviving member. They went into history books when they won a gold medal in the 4x400 relay during the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich, Germany. The feat has never been replicated to date. Nyamau, who joined the Kenya Army in 1963, retired from the force in 1997. Athletics Kenya mourned the passing of the athletics legend, saying Nyamau was a trailblazer who opened doors for the country in sprinting on the global stage. May his soul rest in peace. The Bandari Football Club have appointed Mohamed Baruji as their new head coach following the dismissal of Ken Odhiambo. In a communique released to the media, the club said that they have signed the former Wydad Casablanca striker on a one-year deal to steer the club during the 2025-2026 campaign. Bandari chairman Tofik Balala said that the reason they decided to change the technical bench was to ensure the team competes for both the league title. The new head coach, Borji, who will be assisted by fellow countryman Tariq Bendamu, assured Bandari fans that he would focus on building a team that would be difficult to defeat. Their first league assignment will be against AFC Leopards on the 15th of October. Bandari Football Club, whose last silver came in 2015 when they were crowned FKF Cup champions, are ranked 8th after 3 rounds of Football Kenya Federation Premier League standings with 4 points. Sports. A lighter moment here in the studio.
Thank you for your time and feedback on our social media platforms. I am Muchuma Odim, our sign language expert tonight is Byron Abuli.
And I'm Mboya. Until next week, on Monday and Tuesday, good night from all of us here at Broadcasting. Thank you for watching.
Tushinde.com. Cheza safe, cheza smart. Gambling is addictive, not for persons under the age of 18 years.
Dosi amelala, sukuma moja. Wewe pia ndio muoga. Ndio maana Master Demi alikupita. Demi haiko nipita bwana. Mimi najaza entry ticket zangu. Wewe hata unajua namba ya kusenda.
Sini star 419 hash.
Option 3. Ni Probox. Bwana finya hiyo kitu. Mfinye. Finya hiyo kitu. Mfinye.